On January 28th, 2025, I had an idea that was incredible. It occurred to me when I was at work at Rutgers' Makerspace, and I was staring at the security cameras. Specifically, I was staring at the camera filming the spot on the bottom floor where I was at that moment. There was a lag. When I raised my arm, my digital arm raised 3 seconds later, and then it hit me. A horror story. A fracture between the real self and the digital self. I imagined seeing my digital self walking across the flat screen, while my real self sits and watches. And then I imagined hearing footsteps behind me. And then I got back to work.
Hi, this is Sick Nachi over here. The reason that's my name is because as I'm filming this and as I'm editing this, I'm sick. I have a really bad fever and a really bad cold. Oh, and by the way, I should probably mention that there are other versions of me in this video that don't have the mask on. That's because they're not sick, because they were filmed yesterday. But as I was saying, the thing you saw in the beginning, it's highly likely that that has nothing to do with the rest of the content in this video. Like a fracture between the real self and the digital self. You know, it seems dystopian. It seems to connect with today in a pretty interesting way. I mean, we have AI, we have social media, we have kids on their phones, we have elders addicted to gambling, we have dopamine getting vacuumed from our systems at a fast pace. The digital self seems to exist more than the real self, if that makes sense. And I'm about to enter a real graduation and enter a real world. So I ask this question, the main question that this documentary will be about: how can an emerging adult find himself in a world that is becoming increasingly digital? Essentially, I want to research into the connection between authenticity and the digital world. Some sub-ideas that seem to stem from that would be things like, just, things that involve the connection between happiness and social media, or passion and social media, that kind of thing.
To tell the truth, I was really against making this about anything related to digital media. As weird as that sounds, I wanted the utmost freedom to make this about anything I wanted. So I wanted to go really mystical, spiritual, maybe some conspiracy theories, try to tie it up with a nice little academic bow. But then you said it had to be related to digital media. So, there goes those fucking plans, right?
Look, but I think the question I pose will be good enough, because, it is what it is. Also, I'll try finding a way to connect that question back to ideas I originally had. Ideas like, can authenticity be found in the digital world? Or how can I be myself when all I see on the internet is everyone trying to be everyone else? Those kind of things. Or something else. I don't know, man. All I do know is that I am kind of scared of where the world is going. Like, I wake up in cold sweats sometimes. I'm not even joking. I don't know how my life will end up in the next 10 years or so. Will AI take over? Are we as humans screwed? I was doing some research, right?
Did you know that we're closer to Cleopatra than Cleopatra was to the building of the pyramids? More than that, we are closer to the T-Rex than the T-Rex was to the Stegosaurus. Think about that. We are so infinitely small.
Look, man, if we get wiped out, just like the dinosaurs did, it will be from our own making. Like, there might be some scientist somewhere on the far corner of the world making a robot that in 10 years will come and just wipe us out, just absolutely destroy us. Like seriously, like whatever exists in the future, it could be different life forms, aliens that have come down to conquer Earth, whatever. I really think they're gonna laugh at us. Like, I really think this whole technology thing is just one big joke. And maybe that's why I'm interested in it, because I love to laugh or something.
Look, no hate to anyone doing that, but I think it's indicative of something huge, and that is this idea of fake passion. We have successfully brainwashed ourselves into thinking we actually like the that we think we like. Like, my close friend will not stop talking about becoming a data tech analyst for some company. And his whole life, he's been into, like, engineering and building stuff and making things. And I'm like, yo, your childhood self is inside you, screaming. He's, like, banging on the walls, asking you to let him out. Like, when I was a kid, I just wanted to draw Pokemon cards for a living. And that's all I did. All I fucking did was draw, and I would draw people with triangle faces and spiky hair because I loved anime, and that's all I did. Now, even I have fallen for the bullshit. Like, why am I spending hours connecting with people on LinkedIn? Why am I actually stressing and getting gray hairs about updating my resume, making cover letters, etc., 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 etc.? Like, oh man, I need to grow my network. I hope my LinkedIn looks good.
Like, yo, like, when did this happen? When did we go in our timeline from, like, just hunting and, like, being bored and allowing ourselves to be present and in the moment and stuff to, like, where is that? We can't be bored anymore? We can't waste time anymore? We can't think anymore? Whenever I notice myself getting bored, do you know what I do? I pull my phone out. And I start scrolling. And it's not even interesting stuff anymore. Okay, wow, here's a guy infinitely more handsome than me posing. Let me look at the comments. Oh, it's a bunch of girls thirsting over him. Oh, look at that. Oh, there's that one jealous guy in the comments.
Is this my life? Is this all I am good for?
Look, I don't believe it, all right? I simply don't. Okay, as you can tell, I have very strong opinions on modern humans' ways of life, right? The truth of the matter is, I just don't want a core tenet of my life to be as superficial as it has felt for the past, like, however long I've had social media. I mean, I think the biggest regret I have in my life, or maybe the biggest mistake I ever made, was downloading Instagram when I was like 10 years old. Jesus.
Okay, look, man, I need actual content for this documentary. I can't just make this like 5 hours of me ranting and raving. I mean, I rant and rave to the people in my life, and they're really tired of me, so you're probably already like asleep or something, so let's get straight to brass tacks, all right? I am currently in the process of making a guitar. Basically, at the wood shop in the makerspace I work in, I want to get CNC trained. That's computerized numerical control. And I want to use it to cut out the body of the guitar. I'm buying a neck from the internet because everyone says it's a pain in the ass to make a neck, and I'm fucking lazy, so I'm not adding that on top of the actual guitar body. I want it to be a fretless neck.
So, a little context. Frets are these boxes that you can see on the guitar neck. Bigger box equals lower sound, and smaller box equals higher sound. It's simple. I don't want my guitar to have these boxes on the fretboard because I like how a fretless neck sounds. Sue me or something.
I know how a fretless bass sounds. That's used a lot, right? I mean, The Police, Graceland by Paul Simon. I mean, fucking Jocko, Weather Report. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, like, fretless guitars aren't really used as much as fretless bass guitars are. Not that I have, like, a I did it first attitude, although maybe I do. And also, I didn't do it first, like, some people probably already did it. But I just want to try something out, experiment, you know? Like, have some pride in myself for trying something for once, you know what I mean?
Personality fact, I used to really hate the idea of being a beginner. I just did not like not knowing something, you know? Maybe that leads to stubbornness. Oh no, it definitely did. But I'm a total beginner with this building guitar stuff.
I gotta figure out electronics, wiring, that sort of. I also gotta figure out what to buy. Like, come on. I mean, I want humbuckers. I want a kill switch, though that's probably unrealistic for a first guitar. I don't know. There's just a lot that I kind of want to do.
I just think there's a lot of ideas swirling around in my head, but you know, ideas are just ideas. Dreams are just dreams, and you forget them when you wake up, as Nessie said. So I better get to work. building the guitar will be one chunk of the documentary. Though maybe it'll just play in the background. Actually, I don't really know what sort of contribution building the guitar will have to this documentary. But you'll get why I brought this up later.
Another chunk will be these interviews I'm doing with various professors that have impacted my life in positive ways. You know, I figured the main question of this doc, it deserves answers from those I can safely say I look up to. And man, I hope these interviews aren't boring, you know? Okay, random, but let's do a quick 2-minute meditation, okay? Relax. Breathe in. Breathe out. Focus on the space around you. Focus on the energy in your shoulders. Focus on your heartbeat. Focus on your toes. Focus on your hands. Focus on the energy around your head. All is love. All is light. Power swirls within you. Never forget that. So the reason we just meditated is because the first professor I interviewed is Martin Glisserman. He's a real strong, silent type, you know. He taught literature and psychology, and he was the first professor I ever saw mention meditation. And I'm interested in meditation. I love it. I'm a big proponent of it. So I started the interview with what meditation meant to him.
When did your journey with meditation start, and how has it changed your life?
It probably started about 55 years ago. There were a group of people who started doing yoga together.
How do you think an emerging adult can find himself in an increasingly digital world where it seems like your identity is just all over the place?
I wasn't subjected to that kind of pressure. There's a way in which I feel like I could be naive and still be safe as a kid. The 1960s, 70s, it's so radically different now. It's hard for me to imagine. I'm very grateful for all of the apparatuses. I mean, this, couldn't happen otherwise. But I can't, in some ways, I can't imagine what you guys are going through.
But yeah, he didn't really have an answer to the question, though. He's just sort of scared of the future. And he definitely evoked some fears in myself. I mean, like, look.
I do want to get your opinion on this, because when you grew up, the only way you were able to find out information about the outside world is through newspapers or seeing it on the news. Right now, like, on my fingertips, I have access to, I can just,
Everything.
like, I can see a video of a cute cat, and then immediately a second later, I can see there's like a bombing happening with people
Right.
dying. And I guess I want to know, like, psychologically, do you feel like that's going to have an effect on people to get that overload of information all the time?
Yes, yes, totally. And I think it even has to do with some of your regrets about being in school and not paying attention, because I think that is exactly what's been captured, is our attention. My students can't read as many books anymore. And it's not because they're unable to read the books. It's because there's so much crap. There's so much, even here we are, having a conversation for 40 minutes or so. I've been interrupted twice. You've been interrupted twice. And I think when we're alone doing, reading our book, oh, you get a text, you got to, oh, while you're doing your text, oh, you might as well check your email. It's like fucking endless. And it's just one rabbit hole after another. You have to be so self-aware to step outside of that to go back to your focus.
Okay, so next I interviewed Saladin Malik Ambar, who was my professor for American presidency, and I want to die. I did not get a recording of the interview. I really, really wanted to.
I literally was just about to. And guess what? Computer didn't have storage.
When I say this is one of the most interesting conversations I've ever had, I'm not messing with you, okay? We went to the deep end.
I mean, he was pulling out terms that I hadn't heard in years, like Alan Watts, Eckhart Tolle, the Akashic Records, letting go, the universe, etc., etc., etc. I mean, this was deep.
And I mean, he touched on authenticity, which is something I value a lot, as you could probably tell. His answer to my question existed in the same universe as Martin Glisserman's, which says a lot. I wish I had that recording, man.
Let's get a bit serious. Who am I? Who am I? Am I my name? No, I'm more than that. That's a label. Am I my major? No, that's something I picked. Am I my community? Maybe, but that's external. What is inside me? What is that which stirs my soul? What is my soul? It's my life's mission to answer these questions. Another question I asked all the professors I interviewed was, how do you deal with the unknown? Because that's something I value a lot, right? Life is uncertainty and life is unknown. Tomorrow you could very well die. Tomorrow you could win $1 million or you could go bankrupt. Shit, in the next hour, your roof could fall and kill you. More than that, though, how do you deal with uncertainty with jobs, with life? Like, if I apply for a job, what do I do between now and the email I get with the decision? Do I sit and chew my nails? Do I have a nervous breakdown? If my girlfriend doesn't text me all day, what do I do? Like, how do I cope? How do I have faith? How do I say goodbye to things? Everyone has a different answer. Everyone has a different way to cope. And what is mine? What is yours? Like, how can we come together in these uncertain times? How do we have faith that things work out? Well, looking at the past is a good way. My life has been 22 years of uncertainty. Like, when I got deferred from Rutgers and didn't want to go anywhere else, I spent 2 months living like a man in a boat with the shore out of sight. The waves kept rocking me, but I had faith in my boat. When I feel heartbroken and unsure, I'm in a black hole and I don't know what will be next for me, but I have faith that I'll be spewed out eventually. I guess this does, in a way, relate to the question this documentary is about. I mean, I'm so uncertain what the future of technology will hold. I don't know if jobs are going to be gone. I don't know if humanity is doomed because we're moving too fast, or maybe we're moving too slow. On top of this, authenticity is at an all-time low. Like, I mean, a lot of people I know are making decisions and living their lives based on a conception they have that if they live in a certain way that aligns with the lives they see on social media, it'll give them a sense of validation. I mean, shit, look at what D'Angelo said.
There's a lot of people just copying the same format. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, it was more about being original. Originality was the thing. Everybody who was trying to make it was trying to make it on their own terms, with their own sound, with their own message. You don't see a lot of that now. So I think that's one of the things I don't like.
I don't understand that, you know? Social media is amazing in so many ways, but the way it's stripped the soul of so many people I knew as having souls is so scary, it's almost impressive. Like, there were 3 words I kept repeating to myself a few years back whenever I would feel anxious because of some external force, or whenever I felt myself needing to fit into a certain group, and those words were, don't get swallowed. Don't allow your energy to be seeped by the vampires around you. I think it's important for people to have daily, weekly, monthly rituals or exercises that they use to retain the energy inside them. For Martin Glisserman, this is meditation. For Professor Ambar, he said that John Coltrane's answer was music. For some, it's drugs. For some, it's sex. Today, especially today, it is more important than ever to make conscious efforts to keep a small energy savings account in your body, because I promise you, if you don't, you'll be swayed left and right, up and down by social media. I mean, the internet will tell you how to live against your consent. It'll give you mindless advice. It will show you people that are living the life you want, have the money you want, look the way you want to look, and you will become dysmorphic.
Maybe digital media has more of a say in my life than I originally thought. And maybe you were right, Professor Nessie. Maybe I should. Maybe it is important to relate whatever I want to make this about to digital media. Oh, how's the guitar looking? I haven't made it yet.
So the next big thing I focus on in the interviews is regret. You know, how do you deal with it? How do you get past it? How do you live with it? And this is another instance where I am kicking myself because I didn't get to record the interview with Professor Ambar because he quoted Orson Welles or something, and I thought it was really neat.
Don't you have pride in what you've done?
I never understand those people who say I have no regrets. You know, it's incomprehensible to me.
What are you?
Mine are as countless as the sands of the desert. You know, I can't imagine not having a regret about almost everything.
I think I have a lot of regret based around digital media. Like, maybe I shouldn't have spent so much time consuming it. I think, like, there was a time where I was spending 10 hours a day on TikTok, and I'm not even joking. This was like peak COVID. This was like school is remote, wake up at like 2 p.m., go to sleep at like 4 a.m., scroll TikTok all day COVID.
I saw a TikTok, I think this was back during COVID, where a girl was like complaining because her mom got mad at her because the girl she had like 10 hours of screen time a day, right? And the comments were all like defending her. However, that's not really the scary part. The scary part was the self-awareness in the comments. Many of them knew that 10 hours of screen time a day was not that ideal. And it's horrible for the brain. Yet, how come it's so normal? It's like a guy who chain smokes cigarettes daily, who recognizes how bad it is, but he cannot quit. It is an addiction. It's a digital media addiction.
Maybe there's more regret with things like, you know, I should have used digital media to market myself more, like post my music there to get viral, shit like that.
I mean, isn't that something? I have regret that I used it too much, but I also have regret that I didn't use it enough. Nobody regrets that they didn't, vape enough. Nobody regrets that they didn't do enough heroin. But why with social media is this the case? That there's this polarity?
It isn't even poison at this point. It's just a vat of acid. And everyone's fallen in. And now everyone walks around with smiles on their faces like everything is fine.
And the next professor I interviewed, Ben Perkert, had some pretty interesting things to say about it. How do you think an emerging adult could find himself and be authentic in a world that's becoming increasingly digital?
In my lifetime, it's been a steady movement
toward digital. Every year is more digital than the one that came before. But I don't know that we're not going to see a reversion toward something else. And maybe that sounds completely naive, but let me frame it to you this way. Like, every time I have my phone out, and maybe I sound just like the crackpot liberal professor, but like, you know, we may be being listened to, right? Like, our technology, which empowers us in so many ways, is also quite threatening. And there's a reason why I think people want to communicate more than ever in like coded messaging apps, or reduce their digital footprint, not expand it. You get more followers, suddenly you're a little bit more of a target maybe in certain ways. Like, there are really pressing reasons to pull back from a digital presence. When you read a news article, the newspaper is monitoring like where your eyeballs are resting. They're monitoring like how you got to that article. If you subscribe based on that article, they're noting that too. When you sit down with a book, like a paper hard copy book, that is a private interaction that really only belongs to you. The publisher doesn't know at what point you put the book away. They don't know what your favorite page is. They don't know what page you circled. They don't know anything. And that is kind of blessed in today's environment. I'm not some like Luddite, dude who's just like, digital is the death of our... No, digital's incredible. It's enabled a whole lot of things. But I think that we are potentially moving into a world where we appreciate more than ever the benefits that analog can give us and the freedoms that we have.
All of this does make me wonder how our brains will have changed in the future. Like, look, I have been off social media and I have the apps deleted for about a month now. It's really, really good. I mean, some days are bad. Some days are good. Some are pretty boring. I chew my nails a lot because I need some fixation, but all in all, it's pretty okay.
I mean, based on the research I've done through interviews, it's obvious through the people that I've talked to that they all view digital media in the same light. Like, they all admit it has wonders, right? And it's amazing in so many ways. But it is easy to get sucked into it. Moreover, I mean, they all share a sense of fear, especially with regards to how it affects authority and the sense of self. It seems to be a strange consensus both with the younger generation, so that's people like Ben Perker, and with the older generation, so people like Martin Glisserman.
So I found this article because, we need to look deeper at actual academic sources, right? This is Adolescence's Short-Form Video Addiction and Sleep Quality, the Mediating Role of Social Anxiety. It's a long title, so that means it's legit, right? This is posted on BMC Psychology. The study, as you could have guessed from the title, kind of focuses on the effect of short-form video addiction on adolescents' quality of sleep. They basically ran a questionnaire on almost 2,000 students from 3 high schools, and the results showed that short-form video addiction, sleep quality, and social anxiety are all significantly correlated. Short-form content does harm and hinder important parts of our lives like sleep, and it can even increase things like social anxiety. I mean, that's pretty crazy, huh? And look, while this might be disjointed from the focus being authenticity, to tell the truth, the two are very connected. Anything that has the potential to affect how a person feels directly affects their sense of self. I've noticed it in my own life, like when I used to scroll my TikTok feed for hours at a time. What I felt was a sense of comfort, was just a sense of numbing. Now that I'm off social media, I do feel more pain, if that makes sense. I mean, I feel fear more because I don't have the crutch to take my mind off of it. However, I'm able to process that emotion better. Before, there would not be any processing, just numbing, and now it eventually goes. It's a pretty good feeling. Published in Frontiers, which is a science magazine, is The Effect of Short-Form Video Addiction on Undergraduates' Academic Procrastination, a moderated mediation model. It's just an article that uses a random cluster sampling method to collect the data of 1047 college students. All variables were measured using empirical instruments, and short-form video addiction has, I quote, not only directly impacted academic procrastination, but also placed indirect effect on academic procrastination through attentional control. Furthermore, the mediating effect of attentional control was contingent upon individuals' boredom proneness. Higher levels of boredom proneness weakened the impact of short-form video addiction on attentional control.
So let's think logically about this, right? Like, actually, let's take a second to think logically. A person that has higher levels of boredom proneness, they experience more boredom, they are less likely to be addicted and affected by short-form video addiction. This implies that, for the most part, video addiction affects those that are not prone to boredom, and of course this makes sense. For these people, when they do feel bored, that is almost an unknown territory, something not in this person's comfort zone. The natural result is just to find comfort in discomfort, aka pulling that phone out. On the other hand, it appears that those more comfortable with boredom have an easier time resisting the urges to go on their phones. This relates to something else I discussed with Martin Glisserman and also with Ronald Laveau, who I interviewed after Ben Perker.
Professor Laveau had so many interesting answers to the questions that I asked. Here's what he said when I asked him how a person could find themselves in an increasingly digital world.
How do you think an emerging adult can find authenticity and find himself, especially in a world that is becoming more digital?
First of all, it's a question of authenticity, whether there is such a thing. There is a sense in which the self is always being reconstructed. And theoretically, people like to talk about, the fact that we're mimetic creatures. We imitate what we see around us. It's natural. It's who we are. Practically, I think everybody does hang on to a certain center. I think that there is a certain principle that you certainly choose and collect what models that you like. So, but the answer to your question is, you just have to live.
Oh yeah, and also the guitar has not been made yet.
So the final professor that I interviewed was Robert Shub. Professor Shub teaches international relations and game theory, and he seemed to be an outspoken critic of both digital media and AI, especially AI.
I feel like our brains were not set up to be able to handle something with like this much compelling, short-term attention-grabbing stuff.
Yeah.
It's really hard. I feel like we're slowly figuring out that smartphones and social media are like functionally equivalent to like cigarettes. Like it's just an addictive behavior that has knock-on effects to many health dimensions.
Like I'm off all social media now for like 2 weeks. And it's really hard. Like I've been biting my nails, hoping I can go on to get my fix, but
I think social media is like bad for 98% of people, just like straight negative. Ruins our attention spans, which I hate. Social media is just driving comparisons to give you more external benchmarks.
what are your thoughts on AI?
You caught me at a funny time. I had some unfortunate incidents in my class this semester, and like I can now say that AI, like the free versions of AI are better than the average Rutgers undergrad at political science. Not better than the best.
Yeah.
Even like the top like 40%, like top 40% are still better than AI.
Yeah.
But it's better than the average. And in another like 12 months, it'll be better than me at political science. So like it's coming. There's no getting around it.
I mean, one of the things that Robert Shub talked about was how like a lot of young people don't even try anymore, especially with like schoolwork, their passions, stuff like that. People don't really try, and they don't really seem to like care about a lot of things, you know?
Well, a lot of people do. When I go to the makerspace where I work, I see people trying, for example. That seems to be it, though. I can't say I try all that much, though I try for the most part. It does feel like just being is harder than trying, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but right now in my life, I find sort of my default is to try and put in effort and just roll that ball up the cliff. This was actually something that was oddly relevant in another interview, the one I did with Ben Perkert. He literally talked about this.
It's a balance, which is something a lot of people aren't good at achieving. It's similar to the balance that Professor Ambar talked about when he said that one of the pieces at the Met's section for ancient Egyptian art showed a guy with a foot forward and backward, detailing how you should look towards the future, but all the while keeping one foot in the past. Because the past is wisdom, the past is advice, the past is answers.
It seems like digital technology also strikes this balance. Each of the professors I interviewed had gripes with it, and most of the articles I looked at also had gripes with digital technology and social media, digital media, whatever you want to call it. But it seems like the gripes are all based around addiction, and they're based around those that can't seem to get off the social media. And so their lives form around what they see on TikTok, for example. I will admit, even though at the beginning of this video I was probably coming off as a full-blown hater of the digital world, I will admit social media is a marvel. It has helped me a lot. It has had moments where I'd argue that it saved me.
But if social media is a mirror, did I save myself? If social media is a mirror, did I save myself? If social media is a mirror, did I become disgusted with what I was seeing because it showed the real unfiltered me? Because it showed me in posts, me in reels, me in comments, me in what the algorithm recommends? How much of my hatred for social media stems from my hatred of the mirror quality that social media has? How much of my hatred for social media stems from my hatred of myself? And what is the connection between that and the question this whole goddamn video is about? How can one remain authentic in an increasingly digital world? So, if social media is a mirror and what gets recommended to you reflects exactly the type of content you like, then it seems like the authenticity one looks for is right there in the digital media itself. It seems as if running away from digital media, social media, whatever you want to call it, is the wrong way to go about it. The answer is in the algorithm. You can find yourself based on what you see, because what you see is you. It is your unfiltered likes, the places you have commented, the accounts you follow. It is all you. It is all you. Based on the interviews and the articles I have looked at, I have come to the conclusion that digital media does have the potential to strip a person's authenticity away in favor of fitting into some category of person or some subculture that they see on the internet because it evidently is what's trending. Moreover, given the negative effects of short-form content, such as the siphoning of dopamine and the restless sleep it can induce, it is evident that these traits can lead to a symptom almost similar to depersonalization caused by the internet. Also, looking at the other articles that comprised the research I gathered, including one titled "The Impact of Artificial Intelligence on Human Loss in Decision-Making, Laziness, and Safety in Education," and one entitled "The Role of Dopamine and Its Dysfunction as a Consequence of Oxidative Stress," my belief that digital media can pose dangers, especially to one's mental well-being, state of calm, dopamine levels, and ability to process information, communicate effectively, and focus for long periods of time, has been reaffirmed. That is my conclusion. The connection between authenticity and digital media is a negative one, because one's sense of self and well-being directly ties into one's ability to live a genuine life. The consequence is decision-making with others' validation in mind, among other negative results. It would be smart, and it would be advised to try to limit your digital footprint, maybe doing practical things like setting timers on certain apps, maybe deleting them for a bit to have a dopamine detox, those sorts of things. That is my conclusion. However, I can't help but wonder how much of my animosity towards digital media stems from these traits versus how much of my animosity stems from the realization that what I saw was just a mirror that held up who I was as a person. And what I saw was something I was sick of. I was bored of that content. I was bored of the scrolling. I was bored of seeing the same jokes, seeing the same memes, seeing the same people posting, the same fake irony, the same weird subculture-based terms, the bits, the inside jokes, all of it. If all of these little parts are just shards of the mirror that social media puts up, and I was sick of that content, does that mean I was sick of seeing me? Because I am a boring person. Does that mean I represent the stuff that I saw? Does that mean I was sick of the very person I actually am, as opposed to just the content on social media? Do I hate myself?
I think if you think too much, you end up gassing yourself out. And right now, I'll be honest, I don't want to find a solution. I don't have the tools necessary to figure out this whole digital media thing. Right now, I don't even have any social media on my phone. Yeah, I scroll Reddit sometimes. Sometimes YouTube Shorts calls to me. But on the whole, my presence has been minimized. Like I said, some days are good. Some days are bad. All are worth it. I don't have the answer. But I'm just going to keep living until I find it.
I'm graduating in 4 weeks. In 4 weeks, I am done. I'm done being a freshman. I'm done being a sophomore. I'm done being a junior. I'm done being a senior. Right now, as I film this, the guitar has not been finished yet. I, as a person, as you can tell, do not know who I am or what I stand for or what I believe in yet. I end this documentary maybe only a little bit better and more sure of myself than I was when I started this whole process. But I am not finished and ready to be presented to the world yet. Like how a guitar needs electronics, I need experience. Like how a guitar needs to be sanded, I need to go through life and deal with the rigors that come with it. Like how a guitar needs to be painted, I need to physically figure out what works with me, what I like, what I gravitate towards. I'll say this much, social media made it damn hard to be conclusive with these questions. Maybe it's best not to think too hard about it. I just gotta keep living. I gotta leave college with excitement, not nervousness. It won't be that bad. It's scary, but it won't be that bad. It'll be fine. I'll be fine. We'll all be fine.